So the DeRozan trade rumors have been heating up a little bit. Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer said that the Magic have expressed interest in DeRozan. It kind of stopped there, but that was something. And when you look at the fact that this is DeRozan's last season on his contract, he's got a player option for $27 million that he's probably going to decline. Probably wants a whole hell of a lot of money. And you could argue that he hasn't really made the Spurs that much better. I think there is a conversation to be had. And when I say that, I mean the on-off numbers for the Spurs hate DeRozan. I mean, this year, they're a -6 net rating with him on the floor. They're +7 without him. Last year it was similar. And I don't think it's because DeRozan's a bad player. I do think there's a conversation to be had about, like, the whole ball dominance and not being a great playmaker, and defensively he's always been blah, and the fact that dudes can, like, leave him open on threes sometimes. It's just those things combined with the fact that he's not one of the best players in the league, even if he puts up 20 to 25 usually every night. And even then, he's been at the low 20s since the Spurs got him. It just makes it to where DeRozan, you can argue whether he really makes a team better or not. The math suggests he does not make the Spurs much better. And then when you look at the young talent of this team between Lonnie Walker and Bryn Forbes and Derek White and DeJounte, of course, there is just a world in which DeRozan not being here would make the Spurs' future just look a little better, especially if they could get something back for the guy. We've also had a thing where it said DeRozan wanted to go back to the Eastern Conference, which, I don't know, take from that whatever you will. The funniest tweet that I saw from that was that he wants to get away from LeBron. I don't know. Also, I think there's a world in which Aldridge at center with no DeMar DeRozan could actually kind of destroy teams. Now, for what all this is worth, if we're going to keep talking about numbers, the Spurs' defense has been the problem this season. They are 7th in offense, and DeRozan is their leading scorer. But, number one, I think he's part of the reason why the defense hasn't been great. And number two, I think their offense can still be really good even without him. Especially if you got some shooting back for him. Now, is it possible that I'm just being a DeRozan hater and he's actually not bad? Yeah. I mean, he is a good player. There's no doubt there, but, you know, all the boring basketball stuff that I just said for 3 minutes. Anyway, the thing about a DeRozan trade is, who the hell's trading for him? Because when you look at teams that, I don't know, just when you just look at teams, like, I can't think of any established teams that are going to take on DeRozan right now because he's not a seamless fit, right? In the East, between the Celtics, Heat, Bucks, Raptors, Sixers, and Pacers. Can we picture any of those teams trading for DeRozan? I can't. I mean, I've seen a Bucks suggestion somewhere on the internet, and my reply to that would be, no. I think they're good on that one. Then you go to some of the other teams in the East, right? Of course, the Magic have been talked about. They're desperate for some scoring, and, well, I think the starting point would probably have to be Fournier's contract. I mean, if it wasn't that, you'd have to do Terrence Ross and, like, Aminu, and then, I mean, like, are you putting Mo Bamba in that deal? That'd be interesting. There's reason to believe they shouldn't really bother with Bamba because they have Vucevic, and Kem Birch is flat out better than Mo Bamba up to this point, even if he hasn't been able to play like that. Then that could be interesting. If it's not that, maybe you do the Fournier contract to make it a little easier. In terms of draft picks, I mean, do the Magic have any excess picks? They have an extra second rounder, which doesn't mean much of anything. But is Orlando really going to give up a pick for DeMar DeRozan? The 5 and 7 Orlando Magic at the moment? I mean, there's a chance that the Spurs would not get a great return for DeRozan. I mean, I've seen people suggest Aaron Gordon. I'm sure the Spurs would love to have him. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe I'm just underselling DeRozan's trade market or potential trade market, but I don't think so. Similar thing for Jonathan Isaac. Another team is the Pistons, right? Similar to Orlando, where they don't want to tank, they want to be as good as they can be. But, I mean, I'll be honest, I think the Pistons season is pretty much already over. They're 5 games under 500, and the only chance they had was basically perfect health all season, and Blake has already missed time, and I mean, I say it every time I mention them. Blake, he just gets hurt every year. Last year was kind of an aberration, if we're being honest, if you just go down Blake's career. So, should they be trading for DeRozan? Same thing. They don't have any excess picks. I mean, if you think DeMar DeRozan is going to get the currently 4-9 Pistons to a mid-tier spot in the Eastern Conference, I am not on that ship with you, okay? And then between, like, the bad teams, I mean, I don't think any of those work in the East. I'm still talking here. I mean, the Hornets, like, if they were just desperate to not be bad, even though they're the 7th seed right now and they've been kind of interesting, I don't think DeRozan makes a lot of sense on the Hawks. I mean, the rationale would be Trae Young is such a good three-point shooter next to DeRozan, it's not as weird, but then it's like, I don't know. They'd have to give DeRozan some big contract, and that just doesn't seem to be the energy that they're pushing out there with the young players and all that. They would have the ammo for it, though, with the expirings, and I believe they have some extra picks, but my gut just tells me DeMar DeRozan does not end up on the Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks would be the funniest thing in the world. I don't think that's happening. The Wizards, Bulls, same thing. Cavs, unless they gave up on Garland already, but I don't see that happening. And then we go to the Western Conference. I don't picture one established team similar to the East taking on DeRozan. I mean, where is the seamless fit between the Lakers, the Rockets, the Nuggets, the Jazz, the Suns, the Clippers, the Wolves, the Mavs? I mean, maybe there's something with Denver. The idea is they need that third scorer, but I just feel like with how much free reign they give Jokic and Murray, throwing DeRozan to that mix, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if DeRozan was an awesome three-point shooter, then damn near every team would love to have him. But this is the reality. I mean, this is why before Bradley Beal chose to extend with the Wizards, that's why he was such a hot commodity and we kept talking about him, because he fits everywhere. DeRozan, where does he fit? I don't know. It's weird to say for a dude who's averaging 20 to be like, who's the team? I don't really know. Then you go to the bad teams in the West. I say bad. A few of these are like not horrible. But like Golden State, for example, the rationale is next season, Steph, Clay, draft pick, Draymond, DeRozan. And I guess D'Lo would be in the move. I mean, at this point, I feel like D'Lo's stock is probably higher than DeRozan's, especially for that team, when you've already got Draymond, who could be the worst shooter in the league 2 seasons from now. In the case of the Pelicans, I mean, you already got Zion and Lonzo. Granted, Lonzo's shooting has been a little better, and Ingram has been making threes, but I just think I think that would be too much stuff. You know, too many guys wanting the ball, especially because, you know, you still have Drew and all that. The Blazers, I mean, if you just wanted to go Dame, I don't even know how the move would work, but if it's like Dame, CJ, DeRozan, using expiring to make it happen, again, I don't think the fit is great, and it certainly wouldn't help you on defense. For the Kings, I mean, you've already got like 4 dudes who want the ball when they're all healthy. But I guess, you know, a weird world where it's like, Bogdan doesn't want to be here, let's get DeRozan. It might be a Kings thing to do. I don't really think it'll happen. OKC, no. The Grizzlies, I don't know. Do you really think the Grizzlies are trading for DeMar DeRozan? So yeah, I just went through every team in the league. DeRozan will be on an NBA team next season, assuming he declines his player option, whether it's the Spurs or someone else. But it is a little tough to see who that team could be, or if a move even happens this season.